Okay, give me a countdown for 45 minutes. 45 minutes, okay, yeah. And we were rolling on September 7th, part 2.
November.
What did I say, September? November 7th, 2017, where the perils of Pauline shared with us why major retailers like Macy's are not flourishing in good economic times. And now it's time to get some feedback from the students in part 2 of our class today. Where are we? Here? Yes, sir, Mr. Timer.
Hi, I'm Steve.
Hi, Steve.
And I like the fact that you tried to give your speech without the note cards.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. And improvement.
I think you did very well for like not thinking you were like prepared or like thinking you were nervous. But like I feel like my only tip of advice is just like believe in yourself. I feel like because you said you like had it memorized and stuff, so I feel like I don't know, just you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you call attention to it, then So just do it, and if it goes a little bad, then just keep going. Yeah. Pauline, I really liked your speech a lot, actually. And I thought you did some decent research, and you came up with some good analysis and evidence that most people hadn't thought of. It's pretty clear for most people that malls are dead. All you have to do is visit one and visit a mall, and they're pretty ghost towns, and they're trying hard to bring bodies in with all kinds of things, but it's not working very well. So yeah, I'm being a stickler now, but you need to know and quote your statistics, precisely and know them. It's 345 retailers, up 32%. 5,300 stores have closed since 2008. So really, and then emphasize those with your voice, so that it's real dramatic. And in 2017, we're poised past the Great Recession, so you're really opening with a dramatic, the horribles. Now you started with a show of hands, and that was okay. I like to see, that got the audience involved, and I think most people still occasionally go out. There's some things you want to touch and feel and see, but for the most part, people do a lot of shopping online. In the deep recession, as you put it, might explain some of it, but we're not in a deep recession, and gas prices are low, unemployment's under 5%, so what's up? As you put it, and so, what's going on, and you had 3 answers, and your answers were good. Please don't print on the back of pages.
Oh, sorry.
Just one-sided, please. The rise of the e-store, shift in society, and the U.S. is over-retailed. You flipped the order when you gave it, but that's okay. You got it all out. That was fine. The Amazon effect was well put, and it's, they really have revolutionized retail, and so that was well done and well put. Your second, third reason about being over-retailed was something that most people probably didn't know or hadn't thought about, but we've just overbuilt the country. This overbuilding of business space was part of this great overbuilding of houses and part of the housing boom was part of the business boom too, which people, where are these businesses going to go and be, and who's going to buy from them, you know? A lot of people were asking, and finally you talked about consumer change, and you gave the example of the cell phone and 38 to 89 billion, again with your voice, stronger emphasis with that. You would like to see you introduce where your quotes come from when you're announcing them and reading them. I have your footnotes, but you saw how your predecessor did it. So do more of the New York Times in 2017 concluded. Bloomberg said this in 2017, and that gives it more credibility. Your summary, your conclusion, and tieback were all fine. Your canais, walk with purpose. Do not constantly pace. Maintain 3 to 5 seconds of eye contact per individual in the room. Do not use a note card. How'd it go?
It didn't go great.
Last time I walked too much. This time I kind of forgot to walk.
Okay.
And I kind of walked in the middle of one of my points, which was not great.
Yeah, it undercut it.
Yeah. And the note card, I didn't need it, but I still printed it out, and I feel like that mentally made me go to it.
Yeah.
So that was bad. And then the eye contact, I had good eye, not good eye contact, but I maintained better eye contact than I did last time.
Yeah. Okay, good. If you meant this as a note card, I think it's best to write out a 3x5 or 4x6 note card.
I just felt like I didn't need it till right before this class, and I freaked out.
And you printed it out. Okay, good. Well, thank you very much. You did a good job, Pauline. You got it done. Thank you very much. Okay, that was Extemp number 2. Okay, good. All right. Let me find an empty folder for Extemp 2. Okay, you ready for the next person? That would be Insia.
I'm not doing my speech today.
Oh, good. 0. Okay, good.
No, I've been sick all week.
Well, we all been sick. Watch what everyone else says when I call on them.
That's
Okay.
not true.
Okay.
I emailed you about it.
Oh, you did? Okay, good. All right, well, let's move on. At least you're here. Okay. Chibi Hemingway? Chloe. It must be Chloe. Chibi? Chloe. Can't read your writing. Hi, Chloe.
Hi.
Thank you for not being sick all week. Okay, Chloe. Oh, you're taller than the rest. There, now you're in focus. Started. How's my time, sir?
You are at 9 minutes past.
And I have how many?
So you have 40 minutes left.
40 minutes left. Good, okay.
Can I go?
Yeah, you can go.
Raise your hand if you've used an Uber or a Lyft in the past year. Almost everyone. I know I have. These apps have changed the way we live. Don't have a car, had too many drinks to drive, forgot your license, don't have a license, no problem. These factors are no longer issues that prevent us from getting to our destination. And recent turmoil with Uber has facilitated the rise of Lyft, further providing people like us with many opportunities to get to our destination and be chauffeured around whenever we want.
Good.
Today I'm going to answer the question of, with Uber's recent struggles, is Lyft ready to rise up? And my answer to that is yes, they are. And I'll give you 3 reasons why I believe this is the case. 1, because of the positive platform that Uber's political and social scandals have provided for Lyft. 2, because in 2017 alone, Lyft has surged in their market shares and ride revenue. And 3, because of the positive and inclusive culture that Lyft has created and their emphasis on looking to the future. The emergence of Uber and Lyft as taxi-like services that cater to the location, the time, the availability of the customer has brought about a renewed sense of ease and flexibility in our lives, in that transportation is readily available to us with the simple use of an app. So although seemingly a impersonal or meaningless issue, whether or not Lyft is ready to rise up has great implications on our life and may determine whether or not this ease and luxury that we've all become accustomed to will continue.
Good.
The first reason I believe that Lyft is ready to rise up is because of the positive platform that Uber's political and social scandals have created. For example, in June, an article from The Economist describes why Uber has been ridiculed and under investigation for alleged intellectual property theft and into its workplace culture. A specific controversy is the CEO, before he was forced to resign, Mr. Kalanick, was caught on tape being verbally abusive and yelling at a company driver because the driver was simply asking him about fares. Quote, Mr. Kalanick yelled at him while he was driving, saying, "Some people just don't take responsibility for their shit." In addition, an Economist article from March revealed that Uber was forced to fire 20 employees after a conclusion of an investigation for sexual harassment. This article went further to talk about the political implications of Uber when the CEO was publicly criticized for working on the Donald Trump's Business Advisory Committee and aligning with Donald Trump during the presidential election. And additionally, the New York Times article in June revealed that Uber was forced to fire a board member who had high status because he made a disparaging remark about women. Ironically, it was in a company meeting about company culture, and he said that adding more women to the board would just lead to more talking. So these sexist undertones and the unhealthy and abusive behavior that has been brought about at Uber has ultimately helped Lyft because it's given Lyft the time and the platform to rise up and go against Uber's ideas and create their own platform to rival their agenda. Specifically in the West and in liberal-minded areas, because customers and consumers are a little more cognizant and critical about using brands that are associated with things like sexism and sexual harassment. The second reason I believe that Lyft is ready to rise up is because in 2017, they have increased their growth in their market share and ride revenue. An article in July from the San Francisco Chronicle talks about a hashtag delete Uber campaign that started that has accelerated Lyft's growth in that they've expanded into 150 new markets in the U.S. in 2017 thus far. Specifically, Lyft's share in their U.S. ride-hailing has increased from 12.6 in 2016 to 21.7 in 2017. Even without Uber's recent scandals, Lyft is on the rise and was set to be on the rise in 2017 because they've introduced and launched their services in 160 new smaller cities in the U.S., including local towns of San Luis Obispo and Merced. In addition, an article of The Economist article in March talked about how for every dollar that Lyft spends, Uber spends 4 times that much. So in this recent period, it has provided Lyft the opportunity to not only financially grow, but as a company and as their reputation grows, to increase that as well. And the third reason why I believe that Lyft is ready to rise up is because of the inclusive and positive platform that they have created for themselves and their emphasis on looking to the future. A specific example from the San Francisco Chronicle that I previously referenced talked about how Lyft created a ability for customers to round up their fares to the nearest dollar and donate that difference to a charity of their choice. In addition, a survey from the Economist article in June talked about how Lyft is able to, or the customers who said that they have switched to Lyft in the past year said that they did that. Their primary reason for doing that was because of company reputation. And lastly, a Wall Street Journal article in June talked about how Lyft is shifting their advertisements away from just condemning Uber and focusing on promoting their positive attributes. Specifically in terms of looking to the future, Lyft is looking to expand into possibly food delivery or trucking, as well as being a platform for companies to utilize them as for self-driving technology, as self-driving cars may be the new biggest thing. In summary, I have explained why Lyft is ready to rise up, especially because of Uber's recent struggles. One, because of the positive platform that Uber has provided for them because of their political and social scandals. Two, because of their increased growth in their market share and revenue. And three, because of the inclusive and positive culture they have created thus far. There should be no doubt in this room that Lyft is ready to rise up and rival against Uber, as well as potentially surpass them as a car driving service. So the next time that you don't have a car available, you maybe had one too many drinks, or you forgot your license, call an Uber and experience for yourself what it's like to be a part and be a customer for a growing and successful company. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Students, what did you like? 6:55. Ouch. Killing me, Chloe. Stay in the power stance, Chloe, and get in the center, back in the center of the room. And remember that brown, I should bring a big piece of masking tape so they don't go in front of it. Right? Okay. Okay, who's next? Stand up.
It's her. So I'm
Oh,
gonna
but
share.
she's hoarse. I
She
forgot.
said, great job without note cards, great voice projection and speed, and great eye contact.
Oh, thank you. A ventriloquist.
Hi, I'm Pauline.
Hi, Pauline.
Hi, Pauline.
I think that was like really good. Maybe since you've already like mastered the eye, like looking around and stuff, you don't need no card. Maybe just like hold the eye contact for 3 to 5 seconds, like he was telling us. Okay.
Yeah, Chloe, this was a really excellent speech. You just needed to, edit it down. You were, way over, so you're going to lose some points for that. But you made your case very strongly for Lyft filling the vacuum. The one thing that I would say, and it's sort of a quibble more than a criticism, is that you talked about the positive platform Uber's political and cultural scandal has created for Lyft. I guess so, yeah, positive platform. It made it seem like it was positive from Uber, but you meant positive for Lyft to fill in and be positive in light of a negative from Uber, right? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Your sixth statement was excellent. Your breakdown was the controversies they created. You did not. Where was your evidence on intellectual property theft? You made that claim, but I didn't see the evidence.
I think I said in the Economist article in June
Where?
said that Uber's been ridiculed and under investigation for intellectual property theft and into its workplace culture. Did I say that? I think it was the first sentence after the...
Well, it's not in your quote here, so maybe.
I think I didn't say it, but it...
You
the first sentence under the
claimed it in your
italics.
tagline, but you claimed it in your slug line, but it wasn't in your quote.
Okay.
So I don't mean to be a stickler, but that's a very serious charge.
Right.
If they were,
so I should have gone further and had a quote about that.
Yeah, because that's where you take their software or something and borrow it from Lyft or somebody else's. And they're using. There's no evidence of that you presented.
Right. Yes.
In writing here, you just made the claim.
Initially.
I don't mean to be a stickler.
Okay.
that thing that Mr. Clappenack, or whatever the hell his name is, went viral. It was pretty ugly. Very well known. Yeah. And I think the other example, I know you're sick and you had to get your charger. Okay. And the other example of more women on the board would just mean more yapping. Was really good. That was really telling evidence. And yeah, I like that one too. But you had a couple, 3 pieces of evidence under each of your claims, and you could have. You need to learn to self-edit, even though you can still have them in there. Just don't use them all, and get through. Have a better sense of getting through your thing in time. Okay? Yeah. So just don't go overtime so badly. Yeah. Your the delete Uber was very telling and very devastating to the company, so that was good. You never get a second chance to make a good first impression, and all these bad impressions are really lasting with Uber. So and for all those people that are wanting to be socially correct and all that stuff, I'll take the first cab that shows up, Uber or Lyft. Okay. They're there, bye. Yeah. And I like the round off to the charity thing. That was a good quote. Yeah. So your summary, your conclusion, and tieback were all excellent. Really good job. Let's talk about your canais. Keep consistent eye contact. Build your passion. Don't start off too strong. Build to a crescendo, which is what we're after. Fluctuate my pitch, pace, and volume, and choose important words to emphasize. How did it go?
Excuse me, I think it went well. I realized when I was practicing that I was in the post 5 range, and I was trying to figure out things to take out so I could fluctuate my pace and find words to emphasize, but I wasn't sure what to take out, so I ended up just saying everything.
Yeah.
So for next time, so I can focus on different pacing and different volumes. If I have a shorter speech, then I can take my time to focus on that. So I will. So yeah. Besides that, I think it went well. Just lengthwise, I need to learn to be more concise.
Yeah, it was really. You really researched it and made a good case for a lift. So it was good, and explained why lift is ready to rise up. So you proved your case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
You have 20 minutes.
I have 20 minutes left. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Up, blank. Candace Bergman. I'm sick. Hi Candace, how you doing? Thank you for not being sick and coming forward and manning up. Okay, you're a little bit different size than the last speaker, so I'll have to adjust. Remember, don't come in front of that brown. Well, actually, you can, but yeah, okay. Okay, good. Let's adjust the camera for you. Okay, good. Okay. Candace is going to address, will the momentum behind the Black Lives Matter movement fade? I repeat, will the momentum behind the Black Lives Matter fade?
Hi everyone, I'm Candace.
Hi, Candace.
So in 2013, shortly following the not guilty verdict for George Zimmerman for the murder of Trayvon Martin, 31-year-old activist Alicia Garza made a Facebook post that would unknowingly spark a revolution. Her passion for the equal treatment of black citizens and the poetry behind her words would have been enough, but there was one phrase that she used that went viral: Black Lives Matter. This phrase quickly became a hashtag and then quickly became a slogan for a group that would lead the way in equal treatment for years to come. I'm here today to answer the question, will the momentum behind the Black Lives Matter movement fade? And my answer is no, for 3 reasons. 1, police are still shooting black citizens at an alarming rate. 2, despite the setbacks by police, the Black Lives Matter movement is still making great strides in getting equal treatment for black citizens. And 3, there is just as much support now for the Black Lives Matter movement as there ever has been. To help you understand why the momentum behind the Black Lives Matter movement is so important, I want to give you a quote by Martin Niemöller. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. So the first reason I believe that the momentum behind the Black Lives Matter movement will not fade is because the police are still shooting black citizens at an alarming rate. In 2015, the Washington Post started to collect data on the police shootings in the U.S. because of the inconsistent and incomplete data that the federal government was providing to the public. In 2016, they won the Pulitzer Prize for National Reporting. According to their data, black suspects are shot, or the suspects that are shot, 23% are black, even though they only make up 13% of the population. This means that they are getting shot 2 times the rate of white suspects. Also, if we take the amount of police shootings that have happened so far until this point of the year compared to the same point last year, we're ahead by 15 shootings. So not only is the problem not going away, but it's also increasing. The second reason why I believe that the momentum behind the Black Lives Matter movement will not fade is because the Black Lives Matter movement has made great strides in getting equal treatment for black citizens. According to a list of achievements published by The Guardian in 2017, the most notable of these achievements is when during the election, the Black Lives Matter movement sat down with political candidates Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders to discuss things like mass incarceration, gun reform, and police de-escalation. Both political candidates spoke openly about their desires to make these things happen. Other achievements include getting the University of California to drop its $30 million funding of private prisons, removing or renaming buildings named after slave owners, and forming the National Police Union contract, which looks at police contracts and how they fail to hold the police accountable. Now, the third reason that I believe that the momentum behind the Black Lives Matter movement will not fade is because of the amount of support that there is for the Black Lives Matter movement still. According to research done by the Pew Research Center in 2016, 4 out of 10 Americans support the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, this is less than 50%. However, 30% of citizens had not even heard of the group. Also, according to Google search trends, the phrase Black Lives Matter reached its peak searches in mid-2016. Also, they are still getting the same amount of searches in 2017 as they did in 2015. So there is no loss in momentum, and they are just as popular now as they ever were. So in summary, I have given you 3 reasons why I believe that the momentum behind the Black Lives Matter movement will not fade. 1, because police are still shooting black citizens at an alarming rate. 2, because the Black Lives Matter movement is making great strides in getting equal treatment for black citizens. And 3, because there's just as much support now for the group as there ever has been. So if you're a part of the 30% that did not know about the group, or even if you are part of the percent that disagrees with him, hopefully I've convinced you to look further into what is actually happening. If you were on the other side, would you want the same support? When they came for you, who would be there to speak for you? Thank you.
Thank you. What was the time?
4:40.
4:40. Thank you. How much time do I have left?
You have about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes.
To cut this one short. Okay. Okay, students, what did you like?
Chloe, hi.
Hi, Chloe.
I think it was really good. It flowed really well. I really like your introduction and your tie back, how they were both really powerful. And before you started listing your 3 points, and the introduction, the quote was really powerful and like automatically drew me in. And then I like how you brought that back at the end, just because there was a lot of information that was really valid throughout, but then at the end you brought back in like the emotional part, which I think kept the audience engaged and like ended on a good note.
Cool, thank you.
Improvement.
Hi, I'm Sia.
Hi, Anthea.
I think the only thing that I noticed was that it's really cool that you weren't using note cards, but to remember, you would look up a lot
Yeah, I know.
to try like remembering what you have to say. And I mean, that's obviously better than using note cards, but it's still like something that
Yeah.
maybe probably improved upon. That was really cool, I thought.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anthea. Glad you rose from your deathbed to make that comment. Okay. Yeah, you want to comment on it? Yeah. Free country, people are dying in Syria, so you have freedom of speech.
So, based on what Ancia said, I did notice that also. And something I would suggest is maybe creating an outline, because, I have the exact same problem. I get, really bad stage fright. So, usually I try to have, a piece of paper or something on me. But what you do is you could create an outline and basically, don't ever write, the way I did. Don't ever write out your speech
Full paragraph.
and memorize it.
Yeah.
Just create an outline, and then every time try to word it a little differently, so that when you're up here, you're not remembering, exactly how should I be saying a sentence, or exactly how should I transition, because the ideas are sort of there, and your speech can freely flow.
Good. Thank you. That's a good thought. Candace, you did give me an outline, and you did have the parts, but make it even more outline-ish with shorter phrases and not so much long paragraphs in your outline, okay? And do remember, we are speaking extemporaneously, so as you practice it, if you practice it 6 times and say it differently each time, and practice with a live person, not a mirror, you will learn it and know it, and you won't have to resort to a note card or anything. You'll have it. I really liked your speech. I'm not so sure about your conclusions, but you made a case, and so I'll talk about it. You started with Trayvon Martin, and you gave us a history lesson with Alicia Garza, and the person that was responsible for the phrase Black Lives Matter. And that was interesting, helpful. I don't think many people knew that, where it came from, and it's funny how, I don't think she knew she was going to be, turn that phrase and it would be forever hers or whatever, that, it would be grabbed from her and taken from her and used, but these things happen, yes. I wondered if, when you decided to tie back to your significant statement and not to Alicia Garza and to Trayvon Martin, I guess that was a conscious thing. You thought you were going to get more bang for your buck to tie back to the no one will speak for me, and I have. You wanted to go for the emotional ending, right? Well, let's talk about this then. So, your significant statement to help understand why the momentum behind the Black Lives Matter is so important. You gave us a quote which was borrowed from somebody else. I'm sure you've seen this around in many incarnations, but essentially is used for the Indians and for the, many people, but it's the same sentiment of not speaking out until there's no one left but you, and then you're there alone, and whoops, I'm alone, and there's no one left to speak for me, whoops. So, what I question though, Candace, is does that really help me understand why the Black Lives Matter is so important? Does it matter because if we don't speak out for them, that no one will speak out for them? You only implied that. You didn't overtly say that. So you left it to us to get the meaning of the significance of it. So I was left, I'll just be honest, I was left a little unsatisfied. I love the emotion of the quote, but I was left unsatisfied with your significant statement. So, you gave us the old Washington Post study. Yeah. And, 23% of all deaths, even though they're only 13% of the population. And so essentially your argument is they're still shooting black people disproportionate proportion to their relation in the population. So we need to have a movement called Black Lives Matter, right? That's essentially your argument, right? I don't know if you've seen it or looked further beyond this or seen any of the studies indicting the Washington Post study. We've debated this, so we got into it a little bit more deeply. But the Manhattan Institute have done some studies on the same phenomena and come up with the exact opposite conclusion. So take a look at some of the stuff that's been done there. Heather, somebody, Yale-educated lady, her last name eludes me now. Not Heather Locklear, but Heather something. But take a look at that if you're interested. See what they saw. Okay, so then the second one is The Guardian from Britain. Here you talked about they sat down with Hillary and Bernie, two losers, in the election, I mean. They didn't win the election. They aren't losers in life. We, of course, think they're wonderful people. They said they wanted to talk about mass incarceration, de-escalation, and gun reform. And the candidates go, yeah, we love this. Right, who wouldn't? And but, they're not in office, so I don't know where I go with this evidence by these people in the movement talking to two candidates is lost. And then other achievements, you talk about them getting statues of buildings from slave owners removed. There were statues and buildings removed. I was curious about the University of California to drop its $30 million funding of private prisons. Help me out with this. Tell me about this. What?
You have 5 minutes.
I have 5 minutes. Oh, yikes. Okay, well, I'll make this quick. Tell me about that.
Tell you about it, like, in general, or how?
Yeah, tell me about that, because I'm grossly ignorant about the University of California running a private prison or thinking of running a private prison? Do they,
It
or
wasn't
they
the
want
University
to?
of
Or
California
oh, it
running
wasn't the
It was like
university.
they were giving money to private prisons.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, for studies.
I don't know if it was for studies. It just said that they were funding them.
Oh, funding it. Oh my. Well, it sounds okay. It sounds worse than
Oh, okay.
then maybe it is. Okay, okay. That's why I was curious, because I work for the University of California. And I'd be real surprised if we were building private prisons.
That'd be weird.
What?
That'd be weird.
It would be weird, yeah. Okay, I'm down to 3 minutes now. Let me go. Do you have any canais on here? No. No, okay. Your pew was pretty good. You know, showing that, you know, that it's still in currency. And your summary and conclusion, and again, your tie back was emotional, so that worked. I liked your speech. I just, you know, the evidence could have been a little better and more convincing, but you made your case for this audience, for the most part, that the Black Lives Matter movement will not fade. Thank you. Okay, it's, ooh, Lord.